Hey guys, this is Miss Brock. I wanted to take a moment to explain your new poetry module review assignment to you. Now, when you open the assignment, you can find a copy of it down here at the bottom. Click on the new poetry module review link, and it'll take you back to the lesson, but then you click on the activity. And this is what it looks like. It's very short and sweet. There are only 3 questions to this assignment, but I've tweaked them a little bit for you. So if you go back to the actual assignment instructions in the lesson here, you'll see here that I have some instructions for the accommodated assignment, and this goes question by question. So in question 1, all you'll have to do is list one form, one theme, and one poetic device that was mentioned in this module. Now, just to kind of help you along here, forms are the structure of the poetry. So think about like a traditional sonnet structure, what that might look like. Think about free verse and what that might look like in poetry. Another form, even though it's not referenced in this module, but just to give you an idea of what that is and what it's asking, a form of poetry could be a haiku. Unfortunately, we didn't have any haikus in this module, but that gives you an idea of what a form of poetry is. Now, theme, we've talked about theme a whole lot. Theme is just the life lesson of the story. Each of the poets referenced in this module had some pretty strong influences that came about in their poetry. So take a look back at each poet's influences and consider what lesson or moral they might have taught to us in their poetry. And then the last thing you'll have to do for this lesson is identify one poetic device referenced in this module. It can come from any poet. There are specific poetic devices that specific poets like to use. And if you go back to any of the lessons, you'll be able to see that. Poetic devices could include things like similes, it could include imagery. I don't think either any of the poets referenced in this module use similes, so unfortunately, I don't think you can use that. Some of them might have used imagery, but you would need to specify which poet used that if you want to use that. So things to consider there. And then the last 2 questions I'll explain very quickly. In question 2, all you need to do is list one poet from this module who used white space. Now, white space is just what it sounds like. It is the white space in between the lines of the poem. White space often is used to help slow down or speed up our pacing as we are reading a poem. So you might look back to the lesson that talks about imagism. That might help you identify one poet who used white space. And then the last question, number 3, all I need you to do is list one poet from this module who used regionalism. We've talked about regionalism before. It is where a writer focuses their setting and their story and details about one specific region of the country. There are many, many examples from this module of regionalism. You should not have any trouble finding those examples. So that's all you have to do for this assignment. You'll type your answers here. Remember, you are identifying and listing what I have. I'm sorry, that's the wrong slide, but you are identifying and listing what I have provided here for you. So if it looks a little bit different in the assignment, never fear, just go back to your questions here, and that's all you'll need to do for this assignment.